Shirley Kiles is here.
It is now 7 a.m. and Early Risers Toastmasters is now called to order. I would like to welcome all of our members and our guests, and also our newly elected district director, Shirley Kiles. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our invocation and pledge of Toastmaster Mary Torno was going to be doing that. Is she present?
She isn't, and so I'll take over for that.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Our thought for today is coming from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 15 and 16. Study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more and more ungodliness. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Katie Dearborn. And I will go ahead and strive to make this an excellent meeting like what we have most every week. Next, I would like to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Sunny Fridge.
Wow, thank you so much. Early Riser Toastmasters, good morning. Good morning to our guests as well. Here we are on May 2nd. Can you believe it already? Well, it's never too early to celebrate. So today we have two wonderful speakers. We will have, for our second part of our meeting, Thinking on Our Feet, table topics. And our third part of our meeting will involve listening skills. Let's get started. Let's strive to have a great meeting. Our first speaker of today is a guest. Who knows? Maybe one day she will become a member. She's 54 years old and she's from rural Wisconsin. Wow, I know about cheese, but maybe Sheila will tell us a little bit more. Sheila Anderson is totally blind from birth, and she would like to tell you how her family supported her when she was growing up. Everyone, let's give a nice warm emoji if you can, or just a hand wave as we welcome Sheila Anderson. And the title of her speech is In Loving Memory. In Loving Memory, Sheila Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests.
Recording in progress.
My family is, I don't know, echo. I might have to change my settings.
Speaker
right.
number one, Tony Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I grew up in Wisconsin, as I said, and my family was very supportive of me when I was growing up. During family activities, they included me. When I was a baby, my mom taught me how to talk as soon as she could because she knew that I wouldn't be able to point to things. So she said I was talking when I was 6 months old. Maybe she was exaggerating, as mothers do, but maybe not. I learned to talk, and we went on activities as a family. My mother took us to museums, to the zoo, to all different places. And we went to my dad's work picnic. I remember that. He worked for Northern States Power Company in Stillwater. And the picnic had activities for the kids. One of them was at the time it was called a moonwalk. Now it's called a bouncy house. It was loud. Kids were screaming, but I was in there with all the screaming kids. My parents got me involved in Girl Scouts, in 4-H, and I remember that the teachers were very determined that I would be involved in everything. I remember my Scouts teacher, I guess it was my 4-H teacher, teaching me how to knit, or trying to. I had no idea what to do. And she said, "Come on, Sheila, just do it." So the only place where I wasn't really involved was in school and gym class. And I remember the teacher used to have me sit on the bleachers because they would be playing ball and different things. So one day I just told the teacher tearfully, "Mrs. Holly, I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you this, but I don't feel very involved and I don't like sitting on the bleachers." So the next week, she had adaptive phy-ed for all the kids who had disabilities in the whole school. We were together and we were doing different things like the crab walk and the seeing how fast we could get down the hall or whatever it was. It was really good. I'm so thankful for all the different things that my parents did to really tell my teachers that I should be included. Even getting to school was a challenge because at the time, I thought that inclusion was being talked about in schools. This was around 1975, 1976. And it seemed like it was a big subject back then. But my parents had a really hard time getting me into the public school. People in the state kept saying, "Well, there's nothing in rural Wisconsin, no Braille teachers, and your daughter won't be able to attend school." My parents didn't like to hear that, so they kept writing letters to the governor and speaking to different people so that I would be able to go. And I did for 5 years. Is it 5 years? Well, through the end of 4th grade. Then I decided to go to the school for the blind. Then I realized how good it is to live in families and homes. I stayed in the home when I was in 10th grade. I got back to public school. And I'm glad that I went to the school for the blind. They had several things that I learned: how to walk with other people, comparing myself with other blind people who were going to class and things like that. My parents still wrote notes to the teachers because they cared about me. The only thing that my parents did not do that I wish they would have done better, well, they did it, but they didn't do it enough, is to teach me how to advocate for myself. Because now that I'm an adult, it's kind of hard to go into those bouncy houses. Okay, I'm an adult, I'll admit it. Or to do other things like go in public. With my family, it was so easy. I could just take somebody's arm and go. We'd go. But now it's like, oh no, we don't know how to walk with her or whatever. So when I was a kid, I wish I would have learned to say, I'll just take the back of your arm and I can go with
6
you.
minutes.
Or I can do this, I can do that. It's okay, I can go in the bouncy house. I'll be fine. I've done it before. So I would encourage you, if you have children, teach them the self-advocacy. And maybe you can all tell me on your evaluation if you think that it was easy growing up as a person who was blind, or different topics like that. Thank you for having me as a guest speaker, and thank you for
7 minutes.
listening. Normally, I think this would be longer because I would be fielding questions or something like that. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Innocent, for sharing your story from birth to now. And we will strive to also maybe have you come back. Here for his comeback is one of the oldest Toastmasters. I heard that he knew Adam and Eve, but I just think that's a rumor. But it's definitely not a rumor that he has not one, not two, not three, but 6 distinguished Toastmaster awards. And word on the street, not from Adam and Eve, but word on the street is he's working on his 7th. One of his passions is helping others to become better communicators. And over the years, he's done that through scholarships. Here today to talk about whether or not we are aware of certain types of illnesses is our distinguished Toastmaster, Adrian Duncan. Adrian Duncan's title is, Do You Know a Child Who Has Arthritis? Adrian Duncan, do you know a child who has arthritis?
Good morning. As a 7-year-old child, I began fighting with Arthur. Those of you that haven't met Arthur, I was going to school and going with a friend of mine and a cousin of mine, Ray. Well, we got up early one morning around 5:30 getting breakfast. Miss Pauline walked into the room. She was our host, and her and her husband, Arthur. Of course, I didn't understand all this. I was a young person. She said, "Well, let me tell you, Arthur and I had a fight all night long last night. 10 o'clock last night. Still fighting this morning at 5 o'clock. Arthur and I have had one big round and another round, another round." And I thought, oh my God, I'm in the wrong house again. I didn't know anything about Arthur. When we sat down at the breakfast table, she said, "I have arthritis super bad." She said, "When I grip something like a skillet or a pan, and I have to hold it real tight if it's full and heavy." Well, I had the same challenge because when I was on the farm milking or using a hammer, or any of the items that I use digging holes or working in the garden, my fingers would cramp and they would lock, and I couldn't get them undone. I'd have to take one hand and straighten out my fingers with the other one. And when she started talking about Arthur, I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I have. Because I would help my aunt dig Irish potatoes, and we'd use a fork digging them out of the ground. When I was helping my dad hold something like a fence post or fencing wire, trying to put together a fence to keep our animals inside a pasture or a garden in a small field, I didn't know what Arthur and arthritis was. Well, Miss Pauline Russell would say, "Let me tell you, until you have this challenge of holding items and your fingers cramp and you can't undo your fingers to go to the next article or item that you have to deal with," she said, "what do you do?" That's where I began at 7, 8, 9 years old, learning about Arthur and arthritis. But that scared me. I didn't know that you'd fight all night with Arthur when you had major issues. And she said sometimes I'd have cramps in my legs, and that was Arthur. Well, I had that same challenge, and I didn't know at 7, 8, 9 years old, my legs would cramp, and I'd have to crawl out of bed and start walking and rubbing. And here I am, 7, 8, 9 years old, trying to get me and Arthur fighting with leg cramps, arm cramps, and my fingers would cramp. Yeah. With my endurance and my challenge and my patience, I got through it. Even in school, when I was trying to write with a pencil, whatever, my fingers would cramp, and I didn't know how to undo them. I got through it, got through school several years. But then when I got to be 16, 17 years old, I got to the point where I was having migraine headaches along with the arthritis. If you haven't had migraine headaches, sometimes I'd come home from school and I'd tell my mom I'm just very ill. I would be sick sometimes 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And when I was too sick to go to church from my arthritis or from my migraine headaches, they couldn't figure out what to do with me. Of course, they still hadn't been able to figure out what to do with me after all these years. But the most important part of it is learning to control your feelings and learning to manage migraine headaches and arthritis from a child when you're 7, 8, 9 years old, 15, 16 years old, or 19 years old. It's a challenge. Then when I went to work, I was doing outside work with shovels and different items that I had to grip to scoop or shovel. Then I had to do snow, shovel. I tell you, it's a real challenge when you're a young person and you don't know how to deal with arthritis and don't know how to deal with migraine headaches. As a youngster, I didn't have a doctor. We didn't have medicine, didn't have insurance. So you had to live with it and learn to deal with each day in your own way. My joy was I would ask other people. And when I was in that stride and trying to do what I could, or if I was into strife, the words I had to learn was, how do I manage day by day? I would get up early and I would do the exercises that I had to do to keep my muscles relaxed as best I could. And I would do the strife because in stride I had to figure out how to each day do something different. My mom would tell me, well, let's see. I found out drinking coffee, if it was hot coffee, that would help my system to release the migraine headaches. I found out it would release arthritis. I had less and less. As I began to grow and learn that as a child, the arthritis got better as I drank coffee because of the hot liquid in my system. I found out the hot coffee was better with my stride and my strife as I was doing the migraine headaches. I found out in doing those strife items, practicing this exercise with my muscles, drinking hot coffee, taking it in stride, and with the strife I had as a young person, I realized it's something I could live with. By 19 years old, I was able to do most everything I wanted to do and needed to do by drinking coffee, taking everything in stride, because I had a lot of strife as a young person. I worked on the farm, lived on the farm. That's something I had to deal with turkeys, geese, guineas, horses, cows, ducks, all the animals and birds, dogs and cats, banties, just the animals on the farm that I had to deal with. I can tell you, if you have some medical issues, no doctors and no medicine, you have to learn to endure and you have to take it in stride without strife. Madam Toastmaster, it's all good. Arthritis, deal with it.
Wow, what resilience you have. So much experience in many ways. Thank you for sharing your story. Two great stories today, not just speeches. It's been said that stories, they're the glue that kind of hold your speech together and connect your message with your audience. And today, I definitely think you both have done that. Thank you, Sheila Ennison, and also Adrian Duncan. Great Toastmaster speeches. Now it is time to tickle our funny bone. Feel free to unmute because we're sure to have a laugh. And our joke master, looking good, is distinguished Toastmaster Mary Turno. You look great.
Can you believe I have to tell a joke? I asked my friend, where can I find some good jokes? He said Ronald Reagan was always good at telling jokes. People would laugh. Okay, let's see what happens. When I get laid off my job, it's called recession. I mean, when you get laid off your job, it's called recession. But when I get laid off, it's called depression.
Uh-oh.
Those are one of those ruiners, I know. I was going to make sure I remembered all the other ones, but if you look up Ronald Reagan, you will find he's very humorous, and my audio person actually read them to me. Then there was the challenge of, am I going to remember this? Well, as you can tell, I didn't remember it. So what's going to happen next? I don't really know, except maybe I could think of a knock knock joke. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
A bird.
A bird.
A
who?
bird who?
I'm glad you hit the bird's eye the last time you played with your bow and arrow. I will turn this meeting back to our Toastmaster.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for tickling our funny bone so early in the morning, Toastmaster Mary Turno. We will strive all to hear some jokes, and hopefully soon I'll do one as well, because I don't want the joke to be on me. All right, I'll do my own laugh track on that. Thank you, thank you. Now, we're going to strive to think on our feet. Here, as our table topics master, is our president, Toastmaster Lee Crawford. Please help me welcome him to the virtual stage.
Very much, Toastmaster Dr. Sunny Fridge. I will strive to provide our members and guests with some interesting table topics this morning. My first question is, May the 5th is Cinco de Mayo. It's a day celebrating the independence of Mexico. And many of us celebrate by going to Mexican restaurants and eating authentic Mexican food. What is your favorite Mexican restaurant in the Little Rock area? Toastmaster Dewey McGar.
Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and distinguished District Director-elect. There are a lot of amazing Mexican restaurants in the Little Rock area. Sometimes it's hard to choose one that's my favorite. However, I often gravitate to the one that's at Interstate 630 and Fair Park, which is Rivera Maya. At that restaurant, they have a lot of different options that are useful. One of them is the Manolos burrito. It is the most humongous burrito that I've ever seen anywhere. It's always hot and delicious, but you have to make sure you're really hungry if you're going to go eat that one. Quite often I eat half of it and take the other half home for later. Another thing that is enjoyable if you like a variety of Mexican food is to get their The fajitas at Rivera Maya are delicious. They are very hot and sizzling on the one plate, and the other plate with some of the vegetables and such on it is the cold stuff that mixes together with it. Just the right amount of spiciness, not too hot. You top that with their white cheese sauce, and you have an amazing meal. some for now and some for later. Rivera Maya is a very
90 seconds.
delicious restaurant to attend. Great service, great food, and very quick service. Great atmosphere, especially if you have some wonderful friends to eat dinner with at Rivera Maya Mexican restaurant on Cinco de Mayo. Topics Master.
Then thank you very much for that answer, Toastmaster Dewey McGar. Now, my next question. Tomorrow, May the 3rd, is National Paranormal Day. My question is, have you ever experienced anything that would be considered paranormal? Have you ever experienced anything that you would consider being paranormal? Toastmaster Tony Milliken.
That's a hard question. What does paranormal mean? I'm not sure what that word means.
Oh, it
If you
means
explain it to me, go ahead.
it means anything kind of out of the ordinary. I mean, like being having encounters with spirits or
Oh no, okay. All right. I haven't really experienced anything paranormal. I listen to different shows about spirits, and I can't say I don't believe in them, but I listen to shows. My husband likes to listen to different shows on the YouTube about spirits. And one thing that happened to me, we were at the cottages, or our way at the time, and someone had passed away. They were killed in this apartment, and we were in front of them. Their apartment was behind ours, and
1 minute.
there was someone there named Larry, and this spirit or ghost poured a whole pitcher of Kool-Aid in his boot, and you wouldn't have to have believed it by being there, and it scared him, and he never stepped foot back in that apartment. But that's
Oh
the
my.
only thing that has happened, and I
90
wouldn't have believed it, but I was there, and I witnessed it. And another is we were in our apartment, and nobody was in the bathroom, and our toilet seat raised up and came back down, and that was scary. That was paranormal to me. Back to table topics.
And thank you very much for that answer, Toastmaster Tony Milliken. Now, for my next question, later on this month, we will be celebrating Memorial Day, and that will be on May the 26th. So my question is, do you know a veteran that has played a big role in your life? Do you know of a veteran who has played a big role in your life? Toastmaster Shirley Kiles.
Good morning, fellow. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I apologize for being not visible. I'm at work. Would you please repeat the question?
Sure. May 26th is Memorial Day. Who is a important veteran that you would like to recognize on Memorial Day?
Thank you, Mr. Topic Master. Actually, there are 3 veterans that I'd like to recognize on Memorial Day. One is my oldest brother who served in Vietnam and has passed away. Secondly, my father also was in military. And third, I had a very special mentor when I first was inducted into the Army. I was inducted as a first lieutenant, and I met a second lieutenant. If you guys know anything about rank, the second lieutenant is under the first lieutenant in terms of rank. This person, when I met him, became my mentor, even though he was of lesser rank. But he took me under his arms and taught me a lot of things that I needed to know about a soldier and being an officer and the military, the training. It was a very good mentor to me and always made sure that I understood, knew what was going on. There are so many acronyms in the military. Really taught me a lot. And I really would say that that was the person who really helped me get my military journey on track, was very supportive. And he has also passed away. So those are my 3 people that I would like to honor on Memorial Day. Back to you, Mr. Topic Master.
Then thank you very much, Toastmaster Shirley Kiles. Those are all the questions that I have for today. I return control to our Toastmaster, Dr. Sonny Fridge.
Muted, Dr. Sutter. There's no sound. There's no sound.
Dr. Sonny is having trouble with her audio. So I guess at this time we can go ahead and I guess move on to our general evaluator, who is Distinguished Toastmaster Dewey McGarr.
Thank you, Lee. It seems many have had audio problems today. My computer is being intermittent with audio, therefore I'm using my phone for audio and my computer for video today. It seems that audio issues are becoming pandemic lately, but I will strive to move forward. You might need to stay in gallery so that you can see me as well as hear me. It is time for our paycheck. Yes, we get paid in Toastmasters. The payment we receive is the knowledge of what we've done well and the wisdom on how we can improve. Our evaluator team will help in this process. I'm not alone. Please help me welcome Evaluator 1, who's going to be evaluating Sheila Anderson's presentation in loving memory. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Clint Copeland.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Dewey McGarr, General Evaluator, and everyone online, especially Distinguished Toastmaster Sheila Anderson. Toastmaster Sheila, fabulous presentation on how you grew up as a person who's blind and totally blind. You inspired me to keep reaching for the stars, and as well as you inspired everyone else in the meeting. Great vocal variety, great vocal variety, great clarity, diction in your voice and your tone, no pregnant pauses. You were very well adept at staying on topic. I like the fact you had a humor in your speech. That shows a lot of variety and continuity. You had great um, what's the word I'm trying to say? Great articulation with your words. Um, I like the fact that you invited us to sharing your experiences, and you told us about how life was challenging growing up, about how you weren't able to go to school for a while, but then your parents were persistent. I love that tenacity that your parents had to make sure you went to school and stayed in school. Well, overall, it was a great speech. Um, I look forward to more in the future. And one thing I'd suggest possibly is to not not say thank you at the end of your speech. Like I used to do that. We should be thanking you instead of you thanking us, because you were able to give us a speech today, and we it was a treat to hear you give your speech. So I look forward to more in the future, and I relinquish control to distinguished Toastmaster Dewey McGar's General Evaluator.
Thank you, Clint, for that effective evaluation. Sheila, appreciate you sharing with us your story about how you strove to be the best you could be in spite of the circumstances. Evaluator 2 will evaluate speaker number 2, Adrian Duncan. Please help me welcome Evaluator 2, Toastmaster Tony Milliken.
Adrian, your speech was good, as always. You had good tone. You kept our attention. You had everything in order. You spoke clearly. You raised your voice when needed. I didn't hear any filler words in your speech. I was waiting to hear more examples of the arthritis. I did not know that coffee helps with the arthritis. You had a good closing, and I look forward to hearing more of your speeches and getting more information about your arthritis. Back to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Tony. Our grammarian will report on correct use of grammar as well as areas for improvement in our grammar. She'll report on the use of the word of the day and unique words and phrases, as well as filler words. Please help me welcome our grammarian for the day, our Vice President of Education for Early Risers and Advanced Toastmaster Bronze, Katie Dilburn.
Thank you, distinguished General Evaluator Dewey McGar. With regard to our word of the day, I'm going to read it because I don't think we read it. To strive, that's the word of the day, strive. Make great efforts to achieve or obtain something. Past tense, strove. Past participles, striven, striving. Example, early riser Toastmaster members strive to have a completed agenda before every meeting. I would like to encourage you all Toastmaster members and guests, which we hope that you will become a member of this club. Please strive to make sure you're ready for the war before it starts. That is why America is a great country. We don't make preparations in ready for the battle unless there are adjustments. So keep up the good work. I will be calling you often. Please answer. With regard to the word of the day, Lee 1, Toastmaster DTM Sunny Fridge, you did really well. You got about 5 times using strive. Adrian Duncan, that was low for you the day, about 2. Dewey McGar 1. but I know you will keep striving to make sure you are number one with the word of the day. Also, I want to just say that for the speakers, the information was extremely informative and very helpful. Thank you for bringing topics that any person can benefit from, and that's what we want to do to make people want to come to this meeting. Also, I would like to encourage everyone to keep comments to a minimum and distractions to a minimum, no chats. If our members are speaking, we want to improve our ability to focus and listen. Other than that, please keep striving to be the best club, that we will have a reputation and people will be wanting to get up in the morning and come to early risers because of all of you. I return control of the meeting to the General Evaluator, DTM Dewey McCarr.
Thank you, Katie, for that detailed grammarian report. Timing is important in Toastmasters. More people are disqualified for time in speech contests than for any other reason. Our time will report on how well we've done in keeping within the established limits for time during our meeting today. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Craig Girard.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. I will strive to give a good timer's report. The meeting started on time at 7 o'clock. That's always good because in some clubs, the meeting doesn't start on time. The invocation and pledge was given by Distinguished Toastmaster Mary Torno for about 1 minute. The Toastmaster was introduced at 7:03. Our first speaker, Sheila Anderson, joined us all the way from the wonderful state of Wisconsin and spoke for 7 minutes and 8 seconds. Our second speaker, Distinguished Toastmaster Adrian Duncan, joined us from Little Rock for 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Mary Torno tickled our funny bone with jokes for 45 seconds. Our table topics. Dewey spoke for 1 minute, 50 seconds. Tony spoke for 1 minute, 57 seconds. And Shirley Kyle spoke for 1 minute, 32 seconds. For our evaluations, our first evaluation of Toastmaster Sheila Anderson by Clint Copeland was 1 minute, 58 seconds. And our evaluation of our second Toastmaster, Adrian Duncan, by Tony Milliken was 1 minute, 42 seconds. The time is now 7:44. We are running just a little behind time. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Craig, for that detailed timers report. As General Evaluator, one of my responsibilities is to share thoughts about the meeting as a whole. We did start on time, and we are on target to end on time, which is important in Toastmasters. The evaluators were effective evaluators, providing different things that were done well, what needs to be improved, and ways to challenge ourselves. Just an encouragement to the table topics masters to make sure that they strive to call on people who do not have a major meeting role when they ask a table topics question, to make sure that everyone in the meeting is engaged. That is all I have for my General Evaluator report. I'll return control to our presiding officer, President Lee Crawford.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dewey McCarr. Next, we will move into the business portion of our meeting. Last week, we had decided to have the election of officers at our meeting this week. I will go ahead and begin by taking the nominations for the different officer positions. I believe we have for Toastmaster President, I believe our nomination was for Clint Copeland. Toastmaster Clint Copeland, do you accept the nomination for President of Early Risers Toastmasters?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Next, I would like to hear, are there any other people that would like to be nominated for President of Early Risers Toastmasters? Okay, if there are no further nominations, Clint Copeland will be nominated for president. Next, for our
Point of order. Point of order. Would you just ask the secretary to record that?
Okay, audio again, so I'll share what she's trying to say.
Oh, how about now?
If you'll read the nominations for each office, get all 7 offices nominations complete, and then you can have one motion to have the secretary cast 1 vote for each office to complete the election if there are no oppositions.
Okay. So for the nomination of VPE, I believe that was Kay Dearborn. And for the officer of treasurer, Craig Gerard. And for the office of VP of membership, I believe that was myself.
That was Mary.
Or who?
I'm showing Mary Torno for membership, and you for public.
Torno was VP of membership. Okay. And for the office of VP of public relations, who did we nominate for that?
You, Lee Crawford.
Okay. And then next for the office of Sergeant of Arms, who was nominated for that position?
Sonny Fridge.
Okay. And then for the office of parliamentarian.
We do not vote for parliamentarian. We have a secretary, though.
Oh, okay. Then those are the nominations for
by the secretary position. I am Dewey McGar is nominated for secretary.
Okay. And then we have Dewey McGar as the nominee for secretary. So now I turn control to our current secretary, Toastmaster Dewey McGar, to vote on the nominations.
Okay, just to clarify, President Clint Copeland, Education Katie Dearborn, Membership Mary Torno, Public Relations Lee Crawford, Secretary Dewey McGar, Treasurer Craig Gerard, Sergeant at Arms Sonny Fridge. Are there any additional nominations for any office? I'm required to ask 2 times. Are there any additional nominations for any office? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion from the floor for the secretary to cast 1 vote for each office to install all of these officers into their stated positions. Do I have such a motion?
I second the motion.
It is a motion by Mary Tarno and a second by Sonny Fridge that the secretary cast one vote for all the offices to install these people in their respective positions. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. These officers will be inserted into Toastmasters International within the next 30 minutes for their respective positions for next year. I return control to our presiding officer for additional business, final comments, and adjournment.
And thank you, Toastmaster Dewey McGar. Next, I would like to ask our guests that we had today what they thought of our meeting. Toastmaster and coach and elected district director Shirley Kiles, what did you think of our meeting today?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I thought your meeting was very engaging. For me, I like the structure, the logistics, starting on time, following through with the agenda. I think I have quite a few takeaways to take to some of the other clubs about the structure of your meeting, which I thought was good and on point. I'm certainly happy to be here and enjoy the meeting. Did you want me to give some feedback about the meeting or anything else?
If you would like to do so, you may.
I guess the one comment that I would have would relate to the introduction of a person who has an impairment is that we don't include the impairment in the introduction. I'm sort of I listen to these things very carefully because I'm a special needs family and special needs elder for my church, and I know as the speaker was speaking and advocating to advocate for that group, you would just introduce that person as you would any other person, but focus on their qualities and character and experience, and use those ways to introduce, but not focus on the person's impairment as part of the introduction.
Thank you.
Well taken. Ironically, I asked the speaker to give me her introduction in the chat. Until I read it, I didn't know what it said. So when I clicked and saw it, I read what I saw. Isn't that funny? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. That's funny,
Yes,
right?
I can hear you. Yes.
Because I read it, I was like, she is totally blind. And after it came out my mouth, I was like, okay. But I kept
7:53.
going. Sheila wrote that for me, but I wouldn't have said totally.
7:54.
Blind.
7:54.
Thank you.
Okay, and then next I will move on to our announcements. Toastmasters International will be having their international conference in Philadelphia in August, from August 20th through the 23rd. And I will provide more information for that in the coming weeks. Also, we will be having Members Matters this month on the last Tuesday of the month, May the 27th at 7:30 p.m. Those are all the announcements I have. Toastmaster Dewey McGar, do you have any more announcements?
Yes, we are right on the verge of becoming a distinguished club. Early Risers needs one more paid member to be a distinguished club. 2 level 1s or 2 level 2s will get us to select distinguished. If you get 2 members and 2 level 1s or 2 level 2s, we will be president's distinguished. So if you have level 1s or level 2s ready, please get them completed and turned in. And we're looking for 2 more members, trusting that Sheila will join us, and would be happy for Shirley Cowles to join us as well. That's all I have today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dewey McGar. Are there any other further announcements?
Yes, I have an announcement.
Go ahead, Toastmaster.
I have the hand raised. All right, the announcement is this. The timer position is one that's not readily taken. Therefore, I asked that Toastmaster Craig Gerard will take the first Friday of the month as timer. Toastmaster Lee Crawford, the second month as timer. Dr. DTM Sunny Fridge, I put you in as the third Friday of the month as timer, so that I may be able to start concentrating on some of the things that are very difficult for me to learn with regard to being the VPE of education. And then I will take the remaining Fridays in the month. And if there are, I have agreement from DTM Craig and Toastmaster Crawford and Dr. Fridge, if you want to send me a yay or nay on that by text or email, I'd appreciate that. Another thing, Toastmasters, is please strive to give your attention to anything that comes from me, because it's only going to be what is on our agenda. And I will be stepping up to call our members that need to have a title for their speech and an introduction, so that the Toastmaster of the day will have what they need. And so anything I can do to help you get that agenda before Friday, please let me know. With that, that is all of the announcements from the Office of the Vice President of Education. I return control to our President, Lee Crawford.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kay Dearborn. Are there any other further announcements?
Yes, Mr. President, did we get comments from our other 2 guests this morning?
Sure. Let's see. Toastmaster,
If Shirley Anderson is here, that's fine. Toastmaster Britnam still has issues with her audio. Thanks.
okay.
How about Toastmaster Sheila?
Yeah, Toastmaster Sheila, would you like to tell us what you thought of our meeting today?
Yes, I will let you know that your meeting was inspiring. Not saying those filler words is really helping me to know that I don't need to say them either. And I think that my last name is Enerson. I want you all to know that, because I know you as Toastmasters. So also, I'm not on the phone because I couldn't get the folder with the message in it on my email, so I'll have to talk with the people in computer world about that. And thank you again for inviting me to speak, Mr. Toast, or whoever, Mr. Crawford.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sheila Emerson. Thank you for coming to our meeting today, and we'll hope that you become a member. I see Dr. Sunny Fridge has an announcement.
Not just a quick announcement. Toastmaster Britnam said the meeting is informative as always, and she did like the still. I'm going to mention it because she didn't have a chance to talk. Leaders don't slouch, dress sloppy. They notice the outfit, dress impeccably. They notice the person, and that happened last week. I think Craig Gerard gave us a comment about not slouching. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sunny Fridge. if there are no further announcements, then today our meeting is adjourned and we can go to chit chat.
Thanks everybody for coming. I know you all might have something to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sunny, for your clapping hands.
She
Yeah,
needs
when I
to
do them right.
turn off the recording.
I was looking at that. Thank you, Tony Milliken. I think I left the meeting and Dewey might have to stop it because I'm not in control anymore.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for that, though. Very good. Yeah, almost. It's still recording.
Okay.
It's for some
And
reason.